This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Education and the Passport
For
and
the
Corporate
record,
Services
proudly
Office.
brought to you by
Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. And JN Money.
From abroad to yard.
Fast, affordable, convenient. Doctor's Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctor's Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And Digicel, Cayman's bigger, better network. And Kirk Market. Experience a world of choice.
We ask our listeners and viewers to avoid any statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use indecent language or make any statement that is false or misleading. Call 1-800-534-8255, 949-6990, 949-8037, or WhatsApp us on 925-3261.
Live from Radio Cayman Studio.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you.
For the Record.
Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
With Orrett Connor.
Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is For the Record.
For the Record. 1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Orrett Connor.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, O land of soft, fresh breezes and verdant trees. So fair. Today is Friday, the 21st day of June 2024. Right here in the beautiful Cayman Islands. We do hope and we trust that everyone had a restful, peaceful, enjoyable evening. Those of you who are on the roads of the Cayman Islands, we urge you to please, please, please be extra cautious. Ensure that you adjust your driving to suit the conditions under which you are driving. So, folks, if you're driving in the rain, it means that your visibility is reduced. That should dictate to you that you need to increase the distance between you and the vehicle that is in front of you. You need to be extra vigilant. And you need to slow down as well. Some of you may be driving vehicles that when you get to a puddle of water and you hit it, it may splash the water up on your windscreen, front windscreen, and that could obscure your vision. And as a result, create problems for you as well. So in simple terms, what I'm saying is drive carefully, slow down, pay attention. If you do those things, then the life you save may just be your own. For those of you who are celebrating a birthday today, or if you celebrated a birthday over the past few days, we want to wish you a happy birthday or a belated happy birthday, whichever is applicable. And to remind you that this segment of the For the Record birthday shoutouts brought to you by Coca-Cola, who are proud to support your birthday shoutouts. Coca-Cola available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga wholesalers. You should accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. And by Superior Auto. Superior Auto, they keep your car in tune. Call them at 949-9570 or 525-9571. Those of you who have lost loved ones, again, we want to extend our sincere condolences to you. We hope and we trust that your faith will help to carry you through these extremely challenging times and that the memories of your loved ones will be a blessing. Those of you who are ill and are either at home or at a medical facility here in the Cayman Islands or overseas, we want to wish you a speedy recovery as well. So, folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman and by extension For the Record into your homes, into your vehicles, as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands into your places of work, wherever that may be. As you know, For the Record is a show produced by the staff and management of Radio Cayman, and it is geared towards keeping you abreast of issues as they arise and play out on the local, regional, and international scene. I have the privilege of being your host. My name is Orrett Connor, and you're welcome to join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. During that period, our phone lines are open. Again, this morning, it is the old gal with that beautiful radio voice, Miss Susan Watson, waiting to take your calls. You can call us on our toll-free number provided courtesy of Flow. That toll-free number, 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037 and the 949-6990. WhatsApp us, 925-3261 as well. So let's look at the birthday shout-outs that we have. First of all, belated happy birthday, long belated happy birthday to Miss Nella from over in Hatland in Northside. She celebrated her birthday this past Sunday. So a big belated happy birthday to Miss Nella. Today we see that Miss Adonza Harrison is celebrating her birthday today. Mr. Quincy Brown will be celebrating his birthday tomorrow, along with Edie Turner Seals. Then we see on Sunday the 23rd, Miss Crystal Godet celebrating a birthday. Florence Walters McGrath also celebrating a birthday. Waldo Hilton Parchment celebrating a birthday. And Stuart Wilson also celebrating a birthday today. On Sunday as well. Stuart Wilson, Waldo Hilton Parchment, Florence Walters McGrath, Crystal Godet, all celebrating birthdays. And we want to wish them all a happy birthday when it comes. And to remind you that, For the Record birthday shoutouts brought to you by Coca-Cola, who are proud to support your birthday shoutouts. Coca-Cola available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga wholesalers. They say you should accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. And by Superior Auto. Superior Auto, they keep your car in tune. Call them at 949-9570 or 525-9571. I want to remind you before we go to our first commercial break also that the government has released details of the official proceedings relating to the death of the country's first deputy governor, Mr. Donovan Ebanks. Former head of the civil service sadly passed away on Sunday the 2nd of June at the age of 72, 12 years after he retired from the top job in the administrative portion of government. Formal national mourning period to honor his more than 37 years of public service that began yesterday on Thursday. The lying in state at the House of Parliament in Georgetown begins today, that is Friday today, at 10 a.m. and ends at 1 p.m. The official memorial service will take place at the Clifton Hunter High School auditorium on Saturday, the 22nd of June at 3 p.m. Live stream will be available on Facebook. That's on the CIG YouTube and also the CIG TV channels as well. And I would urge you all to please pay your respects to the late Mr. Donovan Ebanks, who contributed greatly to the Cayman Islands, to the progress in the Cayman Islands, to the continued development of the civil service in the Cayman Islands, and also all of those government departments that fell under his responsibility when he was deputy governor as well, including what was then called the immigration department. So, folks, again, we want to ensure that we honor our own, pay due respect to them as well. Also to mention to you that Dr. Steve McField will be in the studio with us. He will be in the studio after the 8 o'clock news, hopefully, if the rain allows him to be able to get across from his office to here as well. With that, folks, we're going to take our first commercial break. Don't change that dial. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, He hath founded it upon the seas.
Between 1949 and 1951, health officer Berta Ebanks and entomologist George Gigioli spearheaded the first serious fight against mosquito with spraying equipment and large quantities of the new insecticide DDT. The program was credited with eradicating the threat of yellow fever and malaria. In the later 50s, the program was upgraded with the purchase of the Todd insecticidal fog applicator, which was mounted on the back of a truck and delivered a noxious mist of DDT impregnated diesel oil.
Radio Cayman's Historical Vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
Since 1993, Rotary Central has worked diligently each year to provide quality bus shelters to our community, a traveling convenience to our school children, the elderly, young people going to work, guest workers, and visitors using the public bus. We, Rotary Central, help you, our advertisers, make it happen. Your marketing dollar travels a far way, positioning your message, your product, your services, your presence in over 83 bus shelters. Every dollar you spend, every advert you place helps to build another bus shelter, providing modest comfort for Cayman travelers. Reserve space now on the only billboard medium in the Cayman Islands. Email rotaryshelters@gmail.com. rotaryshelters@gmail.com. The Bus Shelters, a partner in community convenience. Another inspiration program by Rotary Central Cayman Islands.
She hear clunk and her car stop. I was just about to send her some money, so I send it straight to her JN money transfer card. It cost me less, and perhaps she use the card, pay the garage right away. She'll get discount through the JN Rewards program in Jamaica. This card make things easy. You can even get funds at any multi-link ATM.
JN Money Transfer Card. Fast, affordable, convenient. Tell your loved ones in Jamaica about it. Sign up is free.
You know who this is? That same old girl that went to Hollywood and Panama? Well, guess what? The fun ain't done yet. Because this year, I'm going to country concerts in Denver. I got kick up my heels in Times Square. I got keep living the dream with Cayman Airways. We so blessed to have them. I tell you what though, this old girl's feeling younger than ever.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering international non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, Kingston, Mobay, La Ceiba, and Havana. Enjoy free rum punch, free in-flight entertainment, free seat selection, and free meals on select flights. Call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
So much happening so fast, too much. It is hard for me to follow my healthcare instructions. The private counseling with West Bay Pharmacy literally saved my life.
At West Bay Pharmacy, we know how complex medications can be. Our pharmacists are delighted to offer you personalized one-on-one healthcare counseling, free medication review, therapeutic callbacks, and we will liaise with your physician to ensure you receive the best in quality medical care.
Quality of life has a whole new meaning with the right pharmacy to support you. Thank you, West Bay Pharmacy.
West Bay Pharmacy in Centennial Towers. Convenient quality care is just around the corner. Now you can WhatsApp your West Bay Pharmacy prescriptions to 516-0777.
Just in time for summer. It's the sizzling hot appliance sale at Brand Source Home Gallery. Save 25% off all appliances now until the end of June. That's 25% off on all appliances at Brand Source. Don't miss this opportunity to replace aging appliances and get 1 year plus warranty on new appliances. The sizzling hot appliance sale now until the end of June at Brand Source, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park. Call 623-5000 for details.
The real magic of the Summer Olympics is closer than you think. Coca-Cola is giving you the chance to win a trip of a lifetime to the Olympic Games in Paris this summer. Just grab any 2 8-packs of Coca-Cola or Sprite products at a participating store and you could be jetting off to see the Olympics live and in person. It's an all-inclusive trip for 2. Don't miss out on the action. Find your nearest participating store and enter now. Follow the flames at caymantoparis.com.
This is For the Record.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. Dr. Steve McField will be in the studio with us later on after the 8 o'clock news. We have about 8 minutes before we go to the 8 o'clock news. Phone lines are open if you want to call in and discuss any thing of interest or importance to you. Do we have any callers on hold? One caller on hold. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you, ma'am?
Not too bad, you?
I'm fine, thanks.
I was able to get some stuff off my chest yesterday.
Yep. I listened to it. Heard you.
Well, there's a lot more to be said, but I know I don't have the time to say it. But, we got election coming up very soon. And, we have to be very careful how we continue voting in this island, because when we vote for these people, when they have all their meetings and whatever, and they are promising us the moon, and they can't take it down and give it to us, and then they got all this stuff on the table that need to be filled by all the investors and all of the private homes that is not even. I mean, I got to speak it raw. And if I can't speak it raw, then you can just tell me to hang up.
No, go ahead.
People that come here and want to build on our island, they're getting their property. Don't get me wrong, it's their money. And, like McField said, when people buy their property, they build what they want to build. But I think we need to start having some restrictions on our island when it comes to building for our roads and access.
Caller coming in a little bit muffled at times.
Oh, I don't know what to say.
Okay. Go ahead.
Anyhow, I don't see anything out there can be promised us next year that any government that get in or this one continue, what they can change for us, the people of this island. And when I say that, when it comes to housing, when it comes to our roads, where the traffic can overpopulate, our island's overpopulated, don't care how many lanes we make, it doesn't solve the problem. We get some more and more crazy drivers on the road, even roads that is barricaded off with tons of cones. People are driving in those to come ahead of the individual that is already in the upper headline of the traffic.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what's going to take to get some things under control on this island. I don't know who's going to do it. Government, police department, immigration. We can't find out yet who's in charge to do what they're supposed to do to keep our island as safe as possible. And I am sick and tired of people, especially in the government, want to put Cayman alongside of China and New York and the United States of America, which in New York is in the United States of America, and other countries. We are a very small island. When it comes to living and building in Cayman and Caymanian having a home of their own, nobody should say that not everybody going to have a home in the Cayman Islands as a Caymanian. And I mean born Caymanian. Now J.E. Banks is building homes here and there. I haven't heard yet how many of our born Caymanians have got one of them and who's on a list to get one. What is the down payment and what are the monthly payments and what bank are picking up these people.
Yeah, it seems as if they have a long waiting list, and I would imagine that there's some criteria out there in terms of how do you qualify, whether or not you have to be Caymanian, whether or not there has to be a certain income threshold that you have to have as well. I'm sure that there's laid out criteria there for all of that.
It is, Mr. Connor, but if that's the case, then let's go and do what America talks about, a project, and put people in them that cannot afford these mortgages out here that we so have now, and they pay a minimum of rent to live in these places, and they would consider being homeless, and they can go and turn a lock every day at this project. You know, in America, you call them project homes.
Yeah, they haven't been too successful in America, though. When you look at projects, most of them are crime-ridden.
Well, I'll tell you what, down in Tampa, just a couple of years ago, they remodeled one down there on 22nd Street. And when I went back through there, I could not believe the development of it in there.
Mm-hmm.
And they still consider project homes, but they're even in a better condition. And they still got low-income people living in those places.
Mm-hmm.
We have no low-income living here for anybody, especially the few Caymanians that is left. And, you know, when Lord Graham gets up there and say, well, he has a lot of good points. And our friend from Cayman Brack has a lot of good points. But who is taking whatever we say, put it on paper, and try to pick nonsense out of nonsense?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm going to call it.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I can't see no government coming in now and telling us that they can move mountains for us after Cayman is where it's at right now. Honestly, my goodness. But anyhow.
So what do you think about the in the last election, people say they wanted independence, and they got independence. And we see what we have as a result of that. Quite obviously, you're not happy with all of the results. So what are your views then in terms of the next government? Because you know what they say, you get the government that you elect, you get the government that you vote for. So are you looking towards independence, or are you looking towards some sort of organized group?
Oh, you know? Can you hear me?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm not for the independence, and this one man vote thing, I think it's foolishness. It need to go back to what was years ago. Make everybody, because then we got people coming up now saying about they acting like they own a responsible for east this and south this, and that is foolishness. We all living on the island. They all working together in the house. They all got to come to some proper answers to what the island needs and what it doesn't need. You understand? So when you go back how we was years ago, and this thing about November election, we gone out to May. I think the quicker we have it, the better. Don't go back to November.
Well, based on what I'm hearing, I'm not sure if we're ready for it, but based on what I'm hearing, the sus that I'm hearing, we may end up with an early election as well, because a word on the street now is that things are not necessarily going all that well.
Early one, more power to us, because we cannot accomplish anything. We are voting for people to come here to do what they are doing. I don't care where they come from. They are doing what they want to do. And we are the ones that are suffering. And my children is suffering. My grandchildren is suffering. And other people out here children is suffering. And when I say suffering, I mean, if they even got a job, they still can't meet a loan payment. They still can't hardly make the rent. Can you imagine renting a one-bedroom for $1,800 or a month? A one-bedroom? And it's a family of 3 or 4 looking for a 2-bedroom or 3-bedroom, and it's over $3,000-4,000 per month, not including lights and water.
Yep. We got about 30 seconds left before we go to our news.
Now, I'll let you go. We'll catch up some more. I'll probably call back later. We'll see how we go.
Okay, yeah. Dr. Steve McField will be in the studio with me as well later on. Folks, we have reached the top of the hour, our 8 o'clock news. Don't change that dial. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back immediately after the 8 o'clock news.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. And studio time now by Foster's is 7:59. Whole grain crackers, nut butter on deck, canned and dried fruit, gotta keep that energy in check. Next on the list, you gotta have water, gallon a day for our son and daughter.
What are you up to?
Just repeating my emergency checklist for hurricane season so I don't forget.
You could just read the Live Well blogs by Foster's and CG Britt K online at livewell.fosters.ky. The latest blog even outlines what you need to stay safe for hurricane season.
Live well, huh? Okay, I'll check, but only if you drop the next verse.
How about with Foster Supplies, you can handle the swells. Stay safe, stay ready, and always live well.
The voice of the Cayman Islands.
89.9 FM in Grand Cayman and 93.9 FM in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman.
Silver wings shining in the sunlight.
Radio Cayman.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com.
For today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller. The Department of Education Services is urging parents and guardians to take necessary precautions this morning to ensure their children in wards are adequately equipped for wet weather conditions. Additionally, school buses will make, quote, every effort to navigate side roads where possible, allowing for pickup and drop-off points closer to home to minimize the distance kids have to walk in the rain. The Department of Education Services says it's closely monitoring the weather situation and will issue further updates through social media if conditions worsen. It's a muddy meeting for Cabinet. According to a summary from their June 11th meeting, Cabinet's leaders agreed to move $829,000 from the 2025 budget for land purchase gazetted claims to this year's budget. They also greenlit an additional increase to the same budget by $671,000. They also agreed to purchase and lease a piece of land along Hearst Road, just east of the junction of Hearst and the East-West Arterial. Cabinet also approved an increase in the repairs to Parliament building budget of $234,000, along with an $8,000 equity injection to Parliament. The group advised the governor to dispose of a land parcel in Governor's Harbor just east of the Esterly Tibbetts in exchange for another nearby one. Finally, Cabinet approved the extension of the International Convention of Oil Pollution Preparedness, Response and Cooperation to the Cayman Islands, and membership of the International Oil Pollution Compensation Supplementary Fund. You can find the full summary online at gov.ky. The lying-in state for Cayman's first deputy governor is being held between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. today at the House of Parliament. Donovan Ebanks' memorial service will be held tomorrow at 2 p.m. at Clifton Hunter High School. He passed away on June 2nd. And in other news,
in the minutes before 8 p.m., a train of Starlink satellites will cross the sky.
Astronomical Society President Tyan Miller tells Radio Cayman if the skies see a break in the rain action, there's a very good chance you can spot 20 satellites tonight that were launched just a few days ago. They haven't yet spread out to join the more than 6,000 satellites already in orbit, so they present as a train in the sky.
Now, they reflect the sunlight, and they'll be rising to the northwest, kind of below the Big Dipper asterism. They're going to climb higher and higher across the sky, and there's 20 of them in a line, and they will cross almost directly overhead. They will continue across the sky all the way to the other horizon and settle in the southeast, not far from the nearly full moon. And that's a really neat treat to see.
They should be out of sight just a few minutes later, around 8:03 p.m. Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC, which takes us out of the newscast. I'm Carsley Fuller.
BBC News with Govinda Gill. Kenyan police have been accused of killing a demonstrator during protests against tax rises. The case is being investigated by the independent policing watchdog. Ukrainian troops defending Charsiv Yar against Russian attacks have described the fighting in the eastern town as very difficult. However, the army said the situation was under control. Russia is trying to encircle the strategically significant town. Jordan has arrested travel agents suspected of organising unofficial travel to the Hajj pilgrimage in Saudi Arabia. Hundreds of people are feared to have died during an unprecedented heatwave. Almost 40 people are reported to have been killed in the floods that have hit southern China. Much of the north of the country is experiencing drought and heatwave conditions. Hawaii plans to make its transportation system free of carbon emissions by 2045. The decision follows a lawsuit brought by a group of young people. The U.S. They say the US state violates their rights by contributing to climate change. The US says the temporary pier used for deliveries to Gaza is again operational. It was used to transport more than 600 tons of aid on Thursday, but critics say more border crossings and land routes are needed. A colonial-era law criminalising same-sex relations has been abolished in Namibia. A court ruled that it violated citizens' constitutional rights. The case has been brought by a Namibian activist. The European Court will start membership talks with Ukraine and Moldova next week. Member states approved the framework for the talks as proposed by the Commission. The process is expected to take several years. And the former Italian football star Roberto Baggio has been attacked during a robbery at his home. He and his family were locked in a room while robbers took their valuables. BBC News.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com.
Now, more than ever, supporting your immune system is crucial to helping your body fight off illnesses like the common cold, the flu, and COVID-19. At ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road and in Buttontown, we carry all the essential vitamins and minerals to help support your immune system and improve your overall health. Some of our top immunity support picks are vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, elderberry, and quercetin, or the popular 7-in-1 immunity support. Our pharmacists are always on hand to help guide you and answer any questions. Visit ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road or Buttontown. Live happy, live healthy with ValueMed Pharmacy.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman with the latest up-to-date, accurate news and information. For your convenience, the headline news will be repeated on our sister station, Breeze 105.3 FM, weekdays at 8:30 a.m. Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or download the Radio Cayman app in the App Store or log on to www.radiocayman.gov.ky and stay connected to what's happening in the community. Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
Flow presents Flow Mania, the first ever all-in-one bundle for mobile and fixed internet.
Wow, finally.
With an absurd 1 gig broadband connection at home. For real, that fast? Insanely fast 5G for the first time ever. Are you serious? And an incredible service to keep you going. Wi-Fi backup included. What? Woohoo! Go all in. Go full mania with Flow Mania. Calculate your savings when you sign up at discoverflow.com or in store.
The new KFC nuggets have arrived. That unlike the no-gets, ours are handmade using 100% white meat, unlike the no-gets. At KFC, we hand-bread every day to achieve the perfect flavor. After you try our delicious and crispy nuggets in the original recipe, you'll never settle for less. KFC, the real nuggets. It's finger-licking good.
The mission of the National Conservation Council and the Department of Environment is to ensure our islands consider responsible use of our natural resources while preserving our native species and habitats for future generations. Learn more at conservation.ky.
The 8 a.m. weather update brought to you by
CG Britcay, where people come first.
Pleasant good morning. Let's take a look at the latest weather report. Current temperature is 81 degrees. Relative humidity is 93%. The barometric pressure is 29.93 inches and rising. The winds are calm. Overnight low temperature was 74 degrees. Synopses indicate continued cloudiness and showers expected over the Cayman Islands associated with the passage of a tropical wave across the northwest Caribbean. The passage of this wave will help support moderate to fresh southeasterly winds and rough seas through tomorrow, with a small craft warning in place. Higher than normal tides may increase the risk of flooding in low-lying areas through tomorrow. Radar images show scattered showers mainly south of Grand Cayman, which are moving towards the west-northwest. Now, the forecast for the Cayman Islands for today calling for cloudy skies with a 40% chance of showers and thunder, and showers will be locally heavy at times. Possible flooding of low-lying areas. Temperatures today will be in the upper 80s. Winds will be east to southeast at 15 to 20 knots with higher gusts. And seas will be rough with wave heights of 4 to 6 feet. And small craft should exercise caution over the open waters for today and tonight as well. The forecast for tonight calling for partly cloudy skies with cloudy spells and a 40% chance of showers and possible thunder. And showers will be locally heavy at times and possible flooding of low-lying areas for tonight as well. Temperatures dipping to the upper 70s. Winds will be east to southeast 10 to 15 knots. And seas will be rough with wave heights of 4 to 6 feet. High tide will be in about 2 minutes at 12 minutes after 8. Low tide this afternoon at 6 minutes past 3. And a high tide again tonight at 10:16. The sun will set this evening at 5 minutes after 7 and will rise tomorrow morning at 5:49. And the outlook is calling for a decrease in cloudiness and showers along moderate winds and seas from Saturday morning as the tropical wave moves west of the Cayman area. That's the very latest on your weather report.
I was undercover and had just recovered the stolen artwork, but...
Aunt Angie, what does this have to do with managing my insurance?
Well, long story long. I found the art thief in France, but ended up becoming somewhat of a local celebrity. So I had to stick around for a while. But I was able to handle all my insurance needs with CG's online portal.
The online portal. Safe, convenient, simple. CG Britgay. Good like that.
The 8 a.m. weather update brought to you by
CG Britgay, where people come first.
You know who this is? That same old girl that went to Hollywood and Panama? Well, guess what? The fun ain't done yet. Because this year, I'm going to country concerts in Denver. I got kick up my heels in Times Square. I got keep living the dream with Cayman Airways. We so blessed to have them. I tell you what though, this old girl's feeling younger than ever.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering international non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, Kingston, Mobay, La Ceiba, and Havana. Enjoy free rum punch, free in-flight entertainment, free seat selection, and free meals on select flights. Call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
We were set to battle, and your Aunt Angie was leading the pack when...
Aunt Angie, what does this have to do with car damage?
Oh, right. Well, long story long. I took down the assassins and wound up inventing a new form of mixed martial arts. I became an international champion until one sore loser karate kicked my car. But I was covered with CG.
Covered for malicious damage and more. CG Britgay. Good like that. All benefits are subject to policy provisions, including eligibility at the time of service.
Tune in every Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. for Radio Cayman's Midday Newscast. Radio Cayman, the People's Station, your trusted official source for the latest news. The 12 p.m. news is proudly brought to you by Health City Cayman Islands. World-class healthcare within your reach. The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Enjoy a delicious start to your day with breakfast from Subway.
Top of the morning to you. Let's take a look at what's happening on the roads. Coming from the east on Shamrock Road, traffic is steady and steady traffic on Linford Pearson Highway. Further down the Linford Pearson Highway, a little heavier traffic. And traffic steady coming off of Agnes Way as well as Bobby Thompson Way. Slow moving traffic on Cool Road heading to Georgetown as well as on Edward Street. Slight delays expected. Into Georgetown on Shedden Road, not looking too bad. And out of Georgetown on Shedden Road, moderate flow of traffic. On the West Bay Road in front of the Ritz, traffic is moderate in both directions. Remember, roads are wet, so please drive with extra care. Coming from the West Bay 4-way stop, moderate flow of traffic and steady traffic coming off of the Esseley Tibbetts Highway. Moderate flow of traffic heading towards the Industrial Park area. And traffic is steady but flowing in both directions on North Sound Road. Also on Huldah Avenue. No issues on Owen Roberts Drive as traffic is moving along light to moderate. And that's what's happening on your roads. Join us again at about 10 minutes past 12. We'll give you another look at traffic.
Summer's heating up, and so are the good times. Whether you are out on the water, enjoying the beach, or gathering with colleagues for an office bash. Make it a feast to remember with Subway. From assorted sandwich platters to mouth-watering cookies, our catering menu has something for everyone. Perfect for groups of 5 or more. For food that's fresh, fast, and perfect for any occasion, choose Subway Catering. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Enjoy a delicious start to your day with breakfast from Subway.
Drinking water is critical after a storm. Your emergency kit should include a 5-day supply of water. That's 1 gallon of water per person per day. Store additional water for those with special needs, such as nursing mothers, young children, or people with illnesses. Keep drinking water in clean, non-corrosive, tightly covered containers. For more useful hurricane preparedness tips, visit the Water Authority's website at www.waterauthority.ky or follow us on social media.
Quality of sleep is vital for maintaining good mental and physical health. Sleeping helps repair and restore our brains, not just our bodies. Sleep apnea is a condition that causes you to stop breathing while you sleep. To protect you, your brain wakes you up so you can resume breathing again. Did you know men are more at risk along with elderly and those overweight? Symptoms can include loud snoring, difficulty staying asleep, waking up short of breath, and fatigue, among many others. If it goes untreated, sleep apnea can cause serious health complications, but with medical assistance can be mitigated and even avert the risk of more serious complications.
Your health tip was brought to you by Total Health, comprehensive preventative health care in the Cayman Islands.
At Kirk's Home Center, we can make your life much better. We got it all together. We got a great deal in store for you. From cookware to stereos, from power tools to plumbing supplies. Yeah, we got the best goods with the best price and a service to make you smile. At Kirk's Home Center, we got a great deal in store for you.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. As I told you earlier that we would be graced with the presence of Dr. Steve McField in the studio with me this morning. It's been quite a while since he has been here, so he is right here with me, and it is my pleasure to introduce him, to say hello, Dr. McField. Good morning, sir. Welcome back to For the Record.
Good morning to you, Mr. For the Record, and good morning to all your listeners in For the Record land and those who listen to you Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. It's good to be back. You know, I've had many phone calls, inquiries, and people were asking if they had told me not to come back on the radio. And I says, no, you were very busy, and I was busy also. And the weather was not really good. Even this morning, I left. I got into the office probably around 5:30, 6 o'clock. Oh, okay. It wasn't raining then, but when I decided to come here, then it started raining. Of course, I have to walk to your office because I'm on the other side of your fence,
right?
In the Lithuanian Square. So it's good to be back. Yeah. I want to let your listeners know that you didn't
abandon you,
abandon me. Yeah, yes, you didn't abandon me.
So tell us what's been happening. Anything exciting has been happening since we last spoke?
No, not too many things. I have been spending some time doing some I would say some commercial work in the office.
Okay.
I'm doing some estates and contracts and things like that. I have been in court a few times since I saw you last, but I have been following you on the radio and listening to you and listening to the other stations as well.
Great.
And I have heard and I have read where things are not so smooth going into this stormy weather, and maybe it's the weather that that people are reacting or acting. And it doesn't look so good. It doesn't look so good at all to see that in our government and in our private sector that there's a lot of problems that need to be solved. I know you try to bring them to the forefront and to you opine on a lot of the things that people see and don't see.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that you're trying to do a good job to be able to help the community in which we all live and which we probably will all die in. But it doesn't seem that is enough as things sort of going south. And that disturbs me a bit. Oh yes, since I saw you last too, you remember it? We did some taping at for the Emancipation, and I went to a showing of the Emancipation Day at the theater, and the Emancipation Day video at the taping at the Kamana Beach Cinema.
Okay.
Which was very good. Yes, and the video was produced very, very good, and I was happy with that, how it was produced.
That was great. Miss Susan, you were saying something just now? We have 2 callers? Oh, the phone lines are busy already. See that, Doc? As soon as they hear that you're here.
Yes.
Let's grab their callers then. First caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, O.C.
Good morning. How are you?
How are you, my friend? I'm doing good. Good morning to the Doc. It's good to see him back.
Good morning. You were my friend from the Sister Islands?
Yes, sir. You know that OC not to see him sitting there by himself now too, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, man, it's good to have you back.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate that.
All right, sir. I just want to hit on one thing this morning, and that is the problem that we have in here on the block here with our hiring. I remembered when the COVID problems was in our islands, and our leaders was speaking about when the country returns back to normal, that the Caymanians would be first at hand to receive jobs over in a foreigner. Doesn't matter where they come from back in the islands. Today we are seeing a total lie of what they have promised the people, because I was speaking to a young man some days, day before yesterday, about the amount of applications he had put into Public Works Department to get a job here on the block, and have been refused over and over and over to get a position. And the same positions that he is putting in for, they're replacing that position with a foreigner. And I can't fathom the way that he feels, and I know how I feel about it, because of the neglect of how we are being treated in these islands as being overlookers and being put on the back burner to put all of the foreigners into these jobs that the Caymanian people need. And then they talk about Caymanians are committing crimes or whatever the problem may be. People are getting frustrated. People are using their aggressions against these government entities or private entities that now want to offer the jobs and giving them to other people. That is one of the reasons, Doc and OC, that I felt a way about them putting down that Marina Kimmonbrook. Now, I'm not saying that we don't need it, but I said from the beginning, if they put that down, it's going to create a problem, Kimmonbrook, because Brockers are not going to be first pick on being up there for inner work. It's going to be foreigners in there and foreigners alone. If it can happen to our Public Works Department and other places on this island, it can happen to foreign entities that come in here bringing their companies. It is sad to know that we got to be sitting down here and our young ones crying for work. And our own people are turning a cheek on our own people in hiring foreigners into the spots that our young people are qualified for. This young man is a heavy equipment operator. He operates many different types of heavy equipment machinery. And public works need him and will hire him. It's sad.
Do you have an idea of what the employment numbers are in the BRAC?
Well, the employment numbers...
Or the unemployment numbers, I should say, sorry.
Oh, the unemployment numbers are really high. The only how they're getting work is either on the side of the road or they go to Scott Development, which is a private sector, and work there. The government are not putting no emphasis on our people on this island. It has to stop because our leaders are overseeing our people, and it only becoming a problem. And when it becoming a problem, it's going to be down around July, August, September, October, when they want people to try to convince them to vote for them. Then they'll come try and give handouts to people. Our employment rate on this island is very, very low because of foreigners getting the jobs. And it somebody have to do something, and somebody have to come up with some solution to stop this.
Well, sir,
Go ahead.
One of the problems that we have here, there's no manpower department here. A manpower department is it's a department that collects data on the employment situation in a country. And it comes out of a policy the government has. There's no policy on the growth of the country. There's no policy on where the unemployment, what the government see as a red line, what the government see as a line of stoppage. Everything is left to the immigration department. The immigration department should not be doing that. The immigration department
workforce employment opportunities came out.
Yes, because they are the ones who give you the permission to bring people in once the decision is made someplace else that the manpower is needed in the country. The problem is that we had no policy, we have no policy, and then it's all ad hoc. And this goes back more than 50 years now. People of my age and people of my profession and other my colleagues, when we came back in the 70s and 80s here, we went through the same thing. And you only had to look at the government departments, legal departments, the court systems, all of those departments. You think that all of those years that they would train people to fill those departments like they do in other countries, and there would have to be some sort of policy. Even the Constitution says that we have the right to do that, and they completely ignore the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and so it doesn't surprise me that they don't really want you, because a lot of those people who come in to the country do not respect our culture and do not respect our history, and when you are in somebody else's pocket, that is what you get. And the problem is that you are going to get this unless there's some drastic change. And like you said, the change is going to come when all of these young people, when they get in their 20s and they have nothing and there's no place for them to go, and they are going to start to build more prison cells and more prison rooms instead of classrooms to train people. That's when the problem is going to start.
And it's so sad to know that our immigration reform, I don't want to discriminate anything against the immigration reform, but it has to start from somewhere, and they need to recheck what is happening with these. I said on the show some days ago, we have people that come in here from different countries, and one of our biggest problems are we have people that work in here, even in our government, that our government system has no knowledge of who they are, their background, because we don't have a fingerprinting system. And the reason they won't have a fingerprinting system, they don't want to take it upon their own initiative to have the problem to deal with the criminals that are coming into these islands, and seeking the jobs, run away from their lifestyle of what they've done, and coming here and taking everything from our people's mouth taking the food from our children. And the government, the officials, they sit down on the high chair and they put the suits and they put the dresses and they have no regards for the people. But come in the next couple of months, they're going to walk around like they were doing everything in the world for us. I hope the people in the Cayman Islands sit down and take stock of what our leaders are doing for us, because they're doing absolutely nothing to help us. They don't at that time when they come around from to bring free water and one old year-old burn-up turkey that's been up in freezer for 2-3 years. No, it got to stop. It has to stop, because our people, they promised our people that after the COVID pandemic situation had passed, that the Caymanians were going to be first. There was no such thing, and there will never be any such thing. It was nothing but pure lies to the people, and the people are hurting because they have to feed their young children.
Yeah, because caller, when I was growing up, I didn't see any poor people in Cayman. I didn't see people begging me on the streets for money and asking me for money to buy food. I didn't see that at all.
That is true. We are living in a modern time.
And now I see that every day. Yeah. And I have to give people funds nearly every day. And sometimes I don't want to come out of my office because sometimes I don't have it to give them every day. And the problem is that there is no Cayman First policy. And you think a country as vulnerable and small as we are, that there would be policy that would be in the interest of the Caymanian people. That's not how it works.
That's right.
And as I have said before, it is not the voters who wins the elections, the donors who wins the election.
Okay, caller, I want to thank you. Thank you very much. We have another caller on hold. We have to go to a commercial break as well. So that caller who is on hold, as soon as we return from this commercial break, we will take your call. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
At Doctor's Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctor's Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Just in time for summer. It's the Sizzling Hot Appliance Sale at Brand Source Home Gallery. Save 25% off all appliances now until the end of June. That's 25% off on all appliances at Brand Source. Don't miss this opportunity to replace aging appliances and get 1 year plus warranty on new appliances. The Sizzling Hot Appliance Sale now until the end of June at Brand Source, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park. Call 623-5000 for details.
Speed into Dream Carnival with Digicel, Cayman's #1 5G network. Win day-wear packages and aftermath tickets by activating a 10-day Prime Pro bundle or paying your bill on time. Don't miss out on these epic events. Go to your nearest Digicel store today or activate a plan in the My Digicel app for your chance to start fetting today. Digicel, better connected. Stay ahead with Total Health for all your healthcare needs. Their state-of-the-art facility offers specialist consultations, diabetes and weight loss, women and child, ophthalmology, ENT, dental, orthopedics, physiotherapy, on-site laboratory, imaging and pharmacy all under one roof. Total Health also provides comprehensive health checks for women, children, men and senior citizens. Conveniently located in the Grand Pavilion on 7 Mile Beach Corridor. Experience a new era of preventive care in the Cayman Islands with Total Health. Because everyone deserves healthier living. Visit totalhealth.ky today and empower your well-being.
This is For the Record.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, Dr. Steve McField. We have a caller who's been on hold. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
patiently on the pole. Good morning, OC, and good morning to the Honorable Doc there.
Morning.
You get him back.
Yes,
and I don't know how you did it. You went behind my back again. So you sound like a middleman.
Well, I got through. I got through on the phone.
Oh, okay. So I'm no longer. My service is no longer.
No, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that.
Okay. All right. Jose, you pose a question to John concerning the way we elect people, or should satisfy with what independence, and we see what we're going through because of that. Jose, when we elect people, we elect what I mostly call grassroots. For many years, just about everybody that is elected, in my opinion, is grassroots Caymanians. So once they're elected, whether they're run as an independent person or a member of a party, they all know exactly, what we need within the community for the best interests of the Cayman people. Just about everybody that get elected has a cousin, an aunt, an uncle, or somebody who is in need, who will whisper to them and tell them exactly what we need. And we don't have to whisper to them or to tell them what we need. They're the one who get up there parading on the stage telling us exactly what we need and what they're going to do for us. So as soon as they get elected, that they come together as a group, not necessarily mean they have to be elected as a party, but once they come together as a group, then we can call that a party too. That's a group to do for the best interests of the Cayman people. So anytime that I bring a motion, if I was part of a group and the others do not support something that I'm bringing that I know that is in the best interest of the Cayman people, then my collective responsibility then goes out of the window, and I will go to the public and let them know what is it I want to do, and the people who's opposing it. That's what I would do. So we don't actually have to be a party member or a party to be able to do the best for the best interests of the Cayman people. Once we get elected, then that's what we run for. That was exactly what you campaigned and told the people that you were going to do. And they all have the audacity now, OC, not to say, if I'm elected. They tell you straight up, when I am elected, this is what I'm going to do. And they never said, if I get within the government. They tell you straight up, when I am elected, this is what I am going to do. But the 4 year goes by, OC, and there's no motion brought. Even say if they was to bring the motion of what they say they were going to do for you, and it gets shot down, then they can come back to the public and say, you see, I brought it, and those handkerchief heads did not support me. But tell me when last you hearing a bunch of, or a lot of motions, private member motions been brought down to the House?
Well, it seems
Dr. McField there can tell you how many motions that was brought by Jim Borden, the late Jim Borden, the late Haig Borden, when they were on the backbench, when they were not part of a government.
And Captain Reed.
Yes. They would swamp the sitting of the legislative with motions for the people.
Well, we see yesterday, Mr. Bush and Mr. Chris Saunders were on Talk Today with Sterling Dwayne Ebanks, and they were talking about the motions that are being brought. And when I was listening to it, I was wondering, because if you note some of the motions that are being brought are motions that things that have been articulated by current members of cabinet. And my thought is, and I'll seek your feedback as well as Dr. McField's feedback on that, is that it would appear to me now that when a member of cabinet is unable to get caucus approval for certain amendments or for certain initiatives, then they're getting their backbenchers to bring it up as private members' motion. That is my take on it.
Yes.
And if it is extremely skillful. But let's hear from you and Dr. McField on that.
Well, it's a problem. That creates a problem because that tells me that there's a rift in the not the organization. There's a rift in the policy in the cabinet, and that certain people don't support certain things that are in the cabinet. And the problem that they have is because there's no decision yet in cabinet on those things, and therefore they can't really come out now and say they don't support it, because you can only come out to the public when the cabinet has made a decision. And then you have to say whether you support it or you don't support it, because the whole thing will undermine the whole notion, the whole convention of collective responsibility, because cabinet members owe responsibility to each other in cabinet, and they owe responsibility to the parliament. And one of the tenets of cabinet government is that if cabinet makes a decision and you as minister cannot abide by the decision or dislike the decision, and you cannot accept the decision, because that's what collective responsibility means. Once the decision is made in cabinet, you have to stand in line and defend your government and defend that your cabinet position. And if you don't, then you have to go. That's the position. And it seems to me now that although Mr. For the Record has said that it's a very clever way of getting it to the people, the roundabout way, and I'm surprised that this is a cabinet initiative, and then it seems to me that the amendments that they want to bring is being brought by a private member motion. I don't understand that at all.
Now let's juxtapose that against the fact that if you had a cabinet that was comprised of members of the same grouping, let's say a party. I know people don't like to hear this party thing, but the party instills discipline.
That's right.
And
that's right.
Now, let's compare that now, what is happening now and what would occur if there was a party system, or not, if there was a party that governed, that controlled cabinet.
Then you would have to abide by the party or go.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, what they would say, the whip would be withdrawn,
removed from
you,
Mm-hmm.
and you would no longer have a cabinet position, and probably not even being able to come down to Parliament. Mm-hmm. So this is the problem with independence, because the word independence means that you have an independent mind, and you cannot, and no one can force you then, because you don't belong to any party, and you haven't signed up in a disciplinary regulations within the party itself, within the party rules and the party structure and the party constitution. Mm-hmm. That's the problem that we're having.
Yeah, Lord Graham, let's hear from you now about the sus that's going on. Somebody posted something on one social. No, may have been a group about the rumors of possibly one minister being removed and those responsibilities being handed over to two distinct ministers, which means that it seems as if they would reduce the number of cabinet ministers. All rumors,
yes.
But well, that is what is out there, and it seems like it's some truth to it. But to touch on Doc talking about collective responsibility and having the whip. So if cabinet brings something that I am not pleased with, that I don't think is in the best interest of my people that I represent, can I not exercise my conscience? Can I not vote my conscience?
Not really. No, you have to.
Not really. No, but if it's not right, it's not right. I don't care whether I'm a member of the party or not.
You're going to have to listen to the show later on, because we're going to talk about that. Yes. We're going to talk about the whole principle of collective responsibility. We're going to talk about what Erskine May speaks to in relation to collective responsibility in Parliament as well. But in U.S. parlance, Lord Graham, what you just did to me would what we would call a soft pivot.
Yes.
I noticed you pivoted when I asked you that question about the rumors and stuff like that. And I know that you have your ears very, very, very close to the ground, and you did a soft pivot and went back to Dr. McField instead of addressing what I asked you. Real politician.
Time back, and I asked a question too, and he danced around it, and you never hold his foot to the fire like how you try to hold mine.
Yes. So the rumors are out there, and the media has indicated some of them. We don't know yet because
was there a leak?
I don't know. I really don't know. I want to go in by what the print media says.
Well, it had to be a leak for the media to get it like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not so good. It's not so good. I mean, it's not so good. Like I was saying to Mr. For the Record when I came in this morning, there are a whole lot of principles that have been invoked now. One of the principles is whether Parliament can abdicate its responsibility to some other organization or some other person. And in these circumstances, whether Parliament hands are tied. And I said, no, they're not tied under the Constitution, because Parliament has the right to make laws for the peace, order, and good governance of this colony. If it's a national if it's a national of national importance, Parliament has a right to do that, and you can't take that right away by some sort of legislation, because the Constitution is superior to any other legislation or any other laws that you might bring.
Lord Graham, we have to go to that commercial break, but Doc will be here until 10 o'clock with me, and we're going to have some more interesting things to talk about as well. So feel free to rejoin us later on if something else crops up as well. We do have a caller on hold. We're going to take a commercial break first. When we return, we will take that caller. Don't change that dial. Please stay tuned. For the Record, we'll be back shortly.
There you go, sir. Thanks for choosing JN Money Transfer.
Boy, thanks to JN Money Transfer, I can stay right here in Cayman and pay Mama bills back home in Jamaica. Her water, light, phone, and other bills never late. Every month I pay everything in one place.
Make payments to over 30 companies in Jamaica through JN Money Transfer. Fast, affordable, convenient. Call 1-800-744-1163 for details.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
When it comes to weekly meal prep, I trust Kirk Market to provide the best value for quality proteins. The butchers at Kirk Market are super helpful. They always slice my steaks perfectly. Kirk Market has everything I need for healthy and flavorful protein-packed meals. From lean cuts of CAB choice beef, tender CAB prime beef, the juiciest pork, and all-natural hormone-free poultry, to their seafood section with everything from fresh local snapper to omega-3 rich salmon. I choose Kirk Market for the highest quality proteins to support my healthy lifestyle. Kirk Market. Eat well, live well, and discover a world of choice.
Are you ready to step into the future? Digicell's super fast 5G network is here. Experience more lightning fast speeds, more seamless connectivity, and more possibilities available with all Digicell bundles. Whether you're streaming, gaming, or working, our 5G technology takes your experience to a whole new level. The future is here. Visit any of our stores today and join Cayman's super fast 5G network. Digicell. Better connected.
With Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. Before I go to the caller, want to read what one of our listeners has sent in. He said, this is one of the rare mornings that I am not in a meeting and able to listen. I would like to ask you to anonymously thank Dr. Steve for his work on trying to bring reform to the PR point system. As a country, we need urgent attention to the rate of population growth and the pace at which we have people becoming permanent residents and Caymanian status holders. We need as much attention to the immigration and population growth and housing and to the public sector educational outcomes as they are giving to bringing amendments to the Conservation Act. If we don't quickly and dramatically improve the educational outcomes in our public schools, primary and secondary, our people will be disadvantaged when it comes to tertiary education and the workforce as well. So I want to thank that writer for this. And just to say, spot on when it comes to the issue of permanent residence. And again, some of you may have heard me say this before, when Baroness Scotland was the Minister for the Overseas Territories, right over in that old board room, conference room at the old immigration building. She sat in there and she said, the issues that you have with Caymanian status, it all emanates from the system of permanent residence that you have in the Cayman Islands, and you have to do something about that. And you know what, folks? We didn't do anything about it. We possibly made it easier rather than, more rigorous for someone to obtain permanent residence. Let's grab the caller. I'm going to give Dr. McField an opportunity later to respond to what the writer has written as well. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Okay, the caller didn't hold on. Go right ahead.
Well, thanks. I thank the caller for
the writer.
The writer.
Mm-hmm.
I thank the writer for the comments. But as you know, there has been nothing done since for quite a while, for months now. We've had no meetings. In fact, what the caller should take into view, and I just want to say this. If the caller notices what happened last year, there were 3 ministers changed in 6 months. 3 ministers in 6 months. First it was Mr. Chris Saunders, and then it was Mr. John Seymour, and then it was Mr. Rankin, and then it became Mr. John Seymour again.
Mm-hmm.
After Mr. Chris Saunders left, not a minister met with us to have a consultation with us, or to ask us where we were,
mm-hmm.
or to meet us. And in fact, the minister, one of the ministers had made a appointment, and you probably know about that too, Mr. For the Record, to have a luncheon with the board members, and where he asked us to do certain things, so to inform on certain things at the luncheon, so that board members could know what other boards were doing and what progress they were making.
Mm-hmm.
At the last minute, all of those luncheons were cancelled. Since I would say since about January, my committee has not had any meetings at all. And every week that I come into my office, when no meeting has been scheduled, but the old schedule in which we were working on, there's always this notice come on my computer: meetings canceled for unforeseen circumstances. Now, we did have one meeting with caucus, in which we presented our preliminary findings and recommendations to caucus, and then caucus asked us to go back and to do a review of those. We went back and did a review of the first findings, and then we were now ready to go back to caucus to say this is our final findings now, to get the go-ahead from caucus now to go publicly to say these are the things that we are recommending to the public, just so the public could get their feedback on it. Nothing has happened. Nothing has happened, and it seems to me that from the beginning of the
exercise
this whole facade, that there were people on the committee appointment who were not in step with the terms of reference that the government made. Okay. They were not supporting the terms of reference that the government made. And the problem that we have is that certain things that we said that we recommended to be eliminated from it, there's feedback from the public. They say, oh, no. They don't want that. And it's my belief that the government has found itself in a position where they have been getting feedback from the outside from the private sector to say, we don't want those changes. Otherwise, the changes would have been before caucus, and then we would have been on the radio or in the districts explaining to people what the changes are that we had recommended in the immigration department. And as far as I'm concerned, there's not going to be any changes in the immigration system because it doesn't suit so many people whose whole activities in the Cayman Islands is not in the best interest of the Caymanian people.
Mm-hmm. Okay. We do have a caller, Ms. Susan. Let's grab the caller. We have enough time, 5 minutes before we go to our headline news. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. O.C.
Good morning, ma'am. How are you?
Good morning, Orrett. Good morning, Mr. McField.
Good morning, ma'am.
First of all, we want to confirm if your number is still the same as it was, because we sent a message to you, but we got no response.
I think my phone was down for a couple of days.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I sent it. Okay, I'll reset. So it's the same number then?
Yes.
Okay, that's number one. Number two, we were scheduling a meeting. I don't know. We didn't get to send it to Radio Cayman or none of the radio stations, but we were scheduling a meeting to get some information about this change in the Conservation Act, because we're not making no decision. We're trying to get some updates or some education on this meeting, education on these changes, because a lot of us in layman terms do not understand the changes that are going to be made. So all we are calling for, we call a meeting so that the 19 elected officials who is voted in by us to educate us on the changes, because some is saying that it's good and some is saying it's by the plea, but nobody's telling us what the changes are. So we're calling, we're postponing the meeting due to the weather, and it's not canceled all the way, but we will resume as soon as the weather is permissible for us to have it, and we will come back to you guys, let us know date. But we're calling on the government to update us on what changes are being made, because we're sick of being blinded, and we want to thank those that is standing up with us to have this meeting going, because we as Caymanians need to have air.
Okay, call up question now.
Yes.
What about the fact now that we see that the members of the backbench will be moving forward with a private member's motion on this piece of legislation as well? Will that in any way change your group's approach?
No, sir. I still want, unless they can come out and tell me what this changes, that we can see whether it's beneficial for us and whatever, we are still having our meeting, because we need to come together. And if we can get Caymanians to come together for one time, we need to come together again to stand for what we believe in. And if they can assure us that they're not going to do what people are saying that they're doing, as I said, I'm not 100% familiar with the Constitution nor the conservation, all these acts, but I would like somebody to educate me, and I'm sure there's plenty like me that do not know the meaning of all these things. I'm not afraid to tell them, but I do not know the Constitution very well, and neither do I know the conservation. But we will stand behind those that are standing for Caymanians. And like Mr. McField just said about the immigration, that's what they need to tackle. They need to tackle the immigration law, leave the conservation alone, get that sorted out. What needs to be fixed into it? I agree if there's things that is not fixable for Caymanians or not feasible for Caymanians, fix that, because Caymanians is sick of being displaced in their own country and pleasing everybody else. They got plenty of stuff there. So I'm calling on. So I'll let you guys know when we get the meeting minutes scheduled again. But Dr. McField, I will be asking, I'm reaching out to you guys to please, when we get this meeting, to please come out and educate us, because we appreciate your knowledge of understanding and what you have taught us. Because from the bottom of my heart, and I'm sure I'm speaking on behalf of the majority of the Caymanians that appreciate you, we think that you are here, that you can educate us. So we will stick and listen to you, and we hope and pray that this will be the best. This meeting that we will get together will be for the best of this country.
Caller, the problem that we have now is that neither Mr. For the Record nor I know what the changes are. We have not seen anything in writing about what the changes are. Neither Mr. Saunders or Mr. Mark Bush has helped by sharing those changes with us.
I think it was only yesterday that was publicly announced. That was done on Sterling Show. Caller, I want to thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Before we go to our headline news, one of our we can prepare this when we return. This person says, "Good morning, gentlemen. Please read and answer on the air. Since the recommendations were made by a UK representative back in the day to change the PR laws." First of all, let me say, the minister didn't make a recommendation. Yes. The minister opined that our problem was with our PR system. So they go on to say that can we now change those laws? And can we make the law retroactive to 2000? So we'll answer that when we return from our headline news. Folks, don't change that dial. Please stay tuned. For the Record, we'll be back shortly.
From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines. Local, regional, international news.
The headline news is brought to you by Kirk Market and Health Services Authority.
Well, the skies may be opened up with rain today. If there's a break in the action tonight, there's a good chance you might be able to spot a train of 20 Starlink satellites that are crossing the horizon over the Cayman Islands. They will rise just below the Big Dipper in the northwest around 7:55 tonight and then set in the southeast near the rising full moon just after 8 p.m. Vladimir Putin has warned South Korea it would be making a, quote, big mistake if it arms Ukraine in the war against Russia. His comments come after Seoul said it was considering such a possibility in response to Russia and North Korea's new pact to, quote, help each other in the event of aggression against either country. Mr. Putin told reporters on Thursday Moscow, quote, will make decisions which are unlikely to please the current leadership of South Korea. The Russian leader was speaking in Vietnam shortly after a visit to Pyongyang, where he signed a mutual defense agreement with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. And Donald Trump's presidential campaign has received a $50 million boost from the conservative billionaire Timothy Mellon. The super PAC fund, called MAGA Incorporated, disclosed to the Federal Election Commission that it took in more than $68 million from donors last month. Those are your headlines. I'm Karsley Fuller.
More news available at www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
When you have a sports or fitness-related injury, trust the expertise of the HSA's Sports and Exercise Medicine Clinic to get you back in the game. Our internationally trained and certified physicians specialize in sports traumatology, sports medicine, pain management, and orthopedic surgery. For treatment of common injuries such as tendonitis, arthritis, tennis elbow, rotator cuff, or knee tears, schedule a consultation with the Sports and Exercise Medicine Clinic at Smith Road Medical Center by calling 949-8600 or visit hsa.ky for more information.
When it comes to weekly meal prep, I trust Kirk Market to provide the best value for quality proteins. The butchers at Kirk Market are super helpful. They always slice my steaks perfectly. Kirk Market has everything I need for healthy and flavorful protein-packed meals. From lean cuts of CAB choice beef, tender CAB prime beef, the juiciest pork, and all-natural hormone-free poultry, to their seafood section with everything from fresh local snapper to omega-3 rich salmon. I choose Kirk Market for the highest quality proteins to support my healthy lifestyle. Kirk Market. Eat well, live well, and discover a world of choice.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. I want to remind our drivers out there, if you have your radio on, and if you do have it on, you really should be tuned into Radio Cayman. So you obviously will be hearing this message, urging you to please be extremely cautious, extra cautious out there on our roads. The roads are wet. When they're wet, they're dangerous. When they're wet, you have to adjust your driving to suit the wet conditions as well. Please do that. We have advanced birthday greetings coming from mother and grandmother, Miss Eleanor Connolly, and she wants to wish her daughter Samantha and her granddaughter Erin a happy birthday on Sunday, the 23rd of June. So Samantha and Erin, advance happy birthday greetings coming from your mom and your grandmother, Miss Eleanor Connolly. So, Doc,
yes.
the question, first we made it clear that the minister she told us where our problems lay,
yes,
in terms of the whole question of status and that laying permanent, our policy in relation and our legislation in relation to permanent residence. We don't expect the UK to change it for us.
No.
And why?
Why? Because the UK has given us dominion over our immigration system.
Uh-huh.
And the immigration, they're not going to go, that would be contrary, that would be contradictory for the UK to go behind our backs to make legislation to control our immigration system when it has nothing to do with them now. They have divorced themselves from that, and they have given us complete dominion over our immigration system, and that's in Section 16 of the law, of the Bill of Rights. So that it's up to us now, and that is one of the, I would suggest that is one of the reasons why the Minister Sanders gave us formed a commission and gave us the mandate, the terms of reference, to see how we could slow it down and see how we could make it more balanced.
Yep.
And that's what we did. And I can't say what it contains, because that would be unprincipled. But I can say this, that the recommendations we made would be in the best interest of the Caymanian people. And when some of the people in the private sector who wanted to come to the commission to see what we were doing, tried to have meetings with me, and I refused to have meetings with them. And it seems to me that they were trying to scuttle the whole thing. And I said, no way. This is not going to happen under my watch. And then, but I told them what I'm saying today to your listeners, that what recommendations that we will be making will be in the best interest of the Caymanian people. And I knew from I said that was going to cook my goose.
Now, Doc, Ms. Susan, do we have any caller on hold? Okay. So based on, again, what we're hearing out on the Mall Road about the various certain groups that are putting together candidates for the upcoming elections and to form a government, are we likely to expect any better or any reprieve from those that we elect in terms of protecting the Cayman Islands? Because this is going to be a controversial statement, but it is almost legal genocide that is being perpetrated upon the people of the Cayman Islands, those of us who the only place that we have to call home is the Cayman Islands, or are the Cayman Islands. And can we expect anything from the groups that we're hearing that are coming out? Most of them have business connections, and it seems as if right now the development of the Cayman Islands is first and foremost the infrastructural development, physical development, laying down that cement, polluting our waters.
Destruction of our environment.
Exactly.
Destruction
That seems
of environment.
all in the interest of making money.
Yes.
Are we likely to expect any better?
No. No respect for our culture. No respect for our history. I am not a friend of those kind of people. I am not a friend of them. I am not in their pockets.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the problem that we have with certain people in this country. You have to be in their pockets to be able to be successful in what you're doing for the country or against the country. We have so many smart people in Cayman, so many people that could, even if they didn't want to run for election, could be something like a think tank.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember in the formative years when Cayman was developing, Mr. Tom Jefferson, the late Tom Jefferson, started something called the Government Private Sector Advisory Committee. And then Mr. George McCarthy continued it. And I'll never forget, Mr. For the Record, when he asked me to join that, and I went to the first meeting, and they would say to me, "Are you bringing some? Do you come to see somebody here?" And I said, "No, I am a member." "You are a member? You are a member? And you were only a sole practitioner?" That was the reaction I got.
Wow.
So the problem that we have, they say, there's a saying that if you continue to make the same mistakes, then what the results?
Right, and expect different
results. That something's wrong with you, and it would be folly for the Caymanian people to go and to elect the same kind of people and expect the difference from them, expect support from them. They would be worse than what we have today,
Mm-hmm.
I believe. Okay. And I would not ask the Caymanian people to support them unless they know what their agenda is and who they are. Because let me tell you, it takes more than just being like in a community to run a country like the Cayman Islands, to run a government.
Yep, we have a caller on hold, I believe, Miss Susan. Let's grab the caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. Connor.
Good morning, ma'am. How are you?
Fine, thanks. And Dr. Steve, good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Mr. Connor, I want to say I agree with yours and Dr. Steve's immediate comments there a few minutes ago. And, when I was working at immigration in the early 90s, approximately for 4 years, and I was in the Caymanian status and permanent resident section,
Mm-hmm.
and I was the first point of contact for applications that were received, and I was the person that was responsible for running those applications through the process to make sure they were complete. And I can say at that stage, permanent residence was, in a manner of speaking, for persons to get permanent residence back then in the way that they're getting permanent residence now. The bar was set more for higher. I don't know how to describe it, but persons
for more affluent,
right, more affluent persons, where they would have had to make certain amount of investments. It wasn't as easy as it is today, where someone can go out and buy property. And I've talked about this on the call before. And I also saw where there were persons who had Caymanian descent or Caymanian heritage, or persons who were here, and once they attained the age of 18, they lost their rights to Caymanian status. And the way that the law was set up at that time, it was so heartbreaking to see that many of those persons who were entitled or should have been entitled, the law should have been in place to protect those persons. Their whole entire life was put into upheaval, and they no longer had a place of, let's say, abode a place to call home because they lost their rights to status. Today, permanent residents, we see someone can buy property and they can apply for permanent residence. And there really needs to be a major overhaul. I don't know, again, this is another topic. I don't understand why the ministers and government are, respectfully to everyone, are keeping mum on this topic when this was a primary thing that they were all campaigning about for the last election cycle. And you're right, I wholeheartedly agree with you, Mr. Connor, is that it is a specific area that is benefiting from this immigration status, and I don't see where our leaders are trying to right that shortfall, and I hope the voters are paying attention. Our country, our people need to stop being the shoo type of people talking behind the scenes and on social media, and come out and cast your vote, or don't cast your vote, and tell your candidates that we're not voting. I mean, what would happen if nobody voted? Because the candidates have not, especially those that are in there now. We want more accountability. The Caymanians are being eradicated. I know 3 families right now, Mr. Connor and Mr. McField, that their children lost their rights to Caymanian status, and the children have nowhere to go. They were born here. They had Caymanian status, they had Caymanian passports, and now that they attain the age of 18, they're being told all sorts of things. I know a young man that was born in the States, and his mother is Caymanian, her ancestral Caymanian, and he came here, he couldn't even get a driver's license. He couldn't use his U.S. driver's license. He couldn't get a Caymanian driver's license because he had to go through a whole process for him to get acknowledged as a Caymanian. The process is absolutely ridiculous. That the lady called me and was crying, and she's a Georgetowner. I'm not going to say which district, but a very, very influential family in Georgetown. Mm-hmm. And I wonder when our leaders are going to step up and speak out on this topic, and our voters or residents need to hold leaders accountable. This administration, the next administration coming up, it's a domino effect where it leads up to this point. And this is the only country, I said this earlier this week about another issue. This is the only country, the only developed free country that I see that we do not exercise our democratic right. We do not get out and speak and call leaders and advocates into accountability, because Cayman is not going to be for Caymanians. It's not going to be for average class working Caymanians anymore. It's already on its way there. But anyway, thank you guys for letting me air my thoughts, and I'll continue to listen to the show.
Thank you very much, caller. We're going to take a commercial break. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Mm-hmm. You know who this is? That same old girl that went to Hollywood and Panama? Well, guess what? The fun ain't done yet, because this year, I'm going to country concerts in Denver. I got kick up my heels in Times Square. I got keep living the dream with Cayman Airways. We so blessed to have them. I tell you what though, this old girl's feeling younger than ever.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering international non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, Kingston, Mobay, La Ceiba, and Havana. Enjoy free rum punch, free in-flight entertainment, free seat selection, and free meals on select flights. Call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
Are you feeling sick, but don't feel ill enough to go to the doctor? Ask your pharmacist for advice. Here at West Bay Pharmacy, our pharmacists have been trained to offer helpful, easy-to-understand advice on the treatment of everyday minor ailments for yourself and all the family. Anything from headaches, cough and sore throat, to cold sores, our pharmacists will know when medical help is needed and will not hesitate to refer you to your doctor if your symptoms demand it. Like doctors, our pharmacists have a professional code, which means all personal information you give them will be treated in the strictest confidence. Visit us today at West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
Just in time for summer, it's the Sizzling Hot Appliance Sale at Brand Source Home Gallery. Save 25% off all appliances now until the end of June. That's 25% off on all appliances at Brand Source. Don't miss this opportunity to replace aging appliances and get 1 year plus warranty on new appliances. The Sizzling Hot Appliance Sale now until the end of June at Brand Source, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park. Call 623-5000 for details.
When it comes to weekly meal prep, I trust Kirk Market to provide the best value for quality proteins. The butchers at Kirk Market are super helpful. They always slice my steaks perfectly. Kirk Market has everything I need for healthy and flavorful protein-packed meals. From lean cuts of CAB choice beef, tender CAB prime beef, the juiciest pork, and all-natural hormone-free poultry, to their seafood section with everything from fresh local snapper to omega-3 rich salmon. I choose Kirk Market for the highest quality proteins to support my healthy lifestyle. Kirk Market. Eat well, live well, and discover a world of choice.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. Any callers on hold, Miss Susan? One caller on hold. Let's grab the caller right away. But before we go to the caller, we're going to, the previous caller talked about things like property and the period of time that she was talking about when she worked at immigration. I think you had to own property at least at the value of $150,000 at that time. That was that was all that was required. But off air, you were talking about some of the recommendations and the whole issue of property, because when we say to someone wanting to come and live in the Cayman Islands that you have to own property, we have to understand the ramifications that carries with it in terms of our Caymanians' ability to own property, because then we have a finite amount of property here in the Cayman Islands, finite land mass, and as a result of that, it makes it more difficult for Caymanians then, if we have them competing against those persons who want to qualify for permanent residence in the property market as well. But let's grab the caller first. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, OC, Dr. Steve.
Good morning.
Hey, morning. How are you? Haven't heard from you in a while.
Well, I thought that I owe you a call. That's why I should start with a very bland statement. You see, in Cayman at the moment, there is no accountable government, and I don't think there has been for some time. There is no accountable government. The overwhelming majority of people in government there don't care about Caymanians or anybody who also cares about Caymanians. The opposition, the majority, I don't think are with Caymanians. And you mentioned also about some people who are planning to run, and you have already expressed some skepticism. And I agree with you, because even among those, I think that the overwhelming majority of them, not all of them, are not going to get in so that they do something about the fundamental issues in society. There is no accountable government in the Cayman Islands, and I think there's no reasonable prospect that one will come even after the next election. Look at two things. You mentioned a few weeks ago about last week, you mentioned about Caledonia, New Caledonia.
Yes.
And I've been following that. What did they do there? When they found that the law and the politicians were not listening, they went to the street. They said, France, we don't care how powerful you are not doing this. You are not giving these people who've been living here, even if it's for a long time, a right to vote.
Mm-hmm.
And France reneged.
Yep, they suspended it, yes.
They suspended it, yes. In Kenya, the president there, who's doing an otherwise good job, we put up the taxes. And he fought. They went to the street and they told him, you are not doing it. And he reneged. If in Cayman, anybody thinks that some of us loudmouths who call in and say reform, if they think that something will be done, it will not be done because of that. Okay? It will not be done. It will be done because people have decided now not to vote for a new government. No, because that won't change anything until they decide to go to the street lawfully, go to the street and say, all you governments, you've sold us out. Look at, for example, what is taking place at the moment, right? there's issues about the National Conservation Law. How can you have a law which was passed after about something 10 or 15 years negotiation? They passed it, but as soon as they passed it, within a couple of years, they want to repeal it and to say it was totally ridiculous in the name of a former premier. Why? That is because somebody in the private sector, the ones who are really puppeteering the whole government, they don't like it. Look at the firearms law. The other thing about the National Conservation Law, I was listening to somebody from the National Trust, I think. They are saying, look, you haven't even consulted us, and yet, you put out, you are saying that the bill is going to change. You haven't consulted us. The same thing which the gun club in Cayman is saying. They are saying, you have published now a bill on the firearms law. You never even consulted us. So the gun club had to go now and beg the government for a meeting on the run, and they've now gone there to meet, and I don't think that they're ever going to effect such really fundamental change to the firearms law, which is good, because I've read the law, I've discussed it with some members of the gun club. It's very, very complex, and they've raised some good issues. It is because the government doesn't want to consult. That is why, I left government. I left government because I told them, I said, look, one of the reasons anyway, I told them, I said, the way you do legislation, you don't consult enough. You consult a few people who will tell you what to do. You don't want to consult everybody. And once I designed the course, and I said I wanted to teach this course so that people can to learn how to consult, the government spent $80,000 to go to government to fight me because they didn't want the public to learn how they should be consulted. And that's what the problem is. Okay? So all these things they are suggesting now about motions, about motions for... from what I heard, when Chris Saunders and Mr. Bush were on, they said that they want certain properties to be designated for Caymanians only, and a number of things like that. And also there are suggestions about marriages of convenience. To me, this is just patchwork. The fundamental issue is the PR system and the starter system. And nobody is dealing with that. You guys have spoken about this matter, and I don't consider you in any way to be xenophobic. You are just trying to look at the local interest and the foreign interest and say, hey, look, balance this properly. It's not happening. Okay? I can tell you right now, for example, another thing which shows that government doesn't work. When I was fighting the Judicial and Legal Service Commission, big judges there, I was fighting that single-handedly together with my little team in the Cayman Islands. We told them, we said, look, there is no way that you can continue violating the Constitution from 2016 when you should have drawn the rules to allow people to complain against judges, and you couldn't do that. I fought the battle with Martin Roper. Martin Roper refused to force the commission to do the rules. And then I fought it with this government. After 7 years, we managed to have those rules done. And in the judiciary as well, they were in the habit of deleting records. They deleted records relating to a matter relating to me in an ongoing matter, and then they told me that the matter is frivolous. Do you know what happened after that? The ombudsman told them you can't do this, and then forced them to start developing a system to ensure that destruction of records is well regulated. But do you know why I say that? It goes back to the government. I brought these matters to the attention of the government, and they were keeping quiet. It's only in both cases I got the support of the ombudsman. Finally, so, Mr. Saunders, apparently, even if he was removed on the basis of so-called rudeness to the governor, I think part of the reason is what Dr. Steve has alluded to, although he hasn't made the point. I don't want to put words in his mouth. He put together that committee so that committee can look at these issues of work permits. And yesterday when I listened to him, he said that the work permit system under him had started to improve. The employment rate was going down. The work permits, some of them were going down. But when they removed him, everything went back up. So do you see? The problem is that in the government itself, they can't agree because the majority of the government has been bought out. I know that's a lot of stuff that I've said, but unless Caymanians do people action, nothing is ever going to happen.
Thank you. Thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
caller. Before we go to our commercial break, one of our listeners has written in and said, OC, ownership of property should mean freehold property. For example, if you borrow money to purchase assets that's not freehold, but it's encountered assets, change the law to $750,000 of freehold assets held for 5 years will have the right to live in this country. $1.5 million of freehold assets for an individual to get PR with the right to work indefinitely. That does not lead to status or any voting rights. Person said they didn't have, also didn't hear the answers to their first two questions, and I think that had to do, we didn't get an opportunity to respond to that, whether or not we could make the law retroactive in relation to permanent resident. But we have to be careful, and Doc, your argument is that we should remove the property requirements entirely, because when you put it up that high, then you're favoring one class and one class only. That is the rich and the famous who can afford it.
Well, how the factors are now. One of the factors is that for family connections, you have to get 110 points to be able to qualify. If you have family connections, automatically you're in a position to get 40 points. Grandmother, grandfather, mother, brother, sister, son, daughter. So many people come here do not have family connections, so they cannot get the 40 points out of the 100, because that's a lot of points quickly.
Yeah.
That's not half of the points that you need.
Yep.
So the next factor says that you get 30 points for having property if the property is valued $500,000 or more. You get all the points for that. The problem that has brought is that once the developers and the real estate people saw that factor, nearly every apartment now is $500,000 or more. It doesn't matter where it is. Because I had one person came to me when I was chairman of the Status and Permanent Residence Board, and I was removed from there because I had stopped the whole proliferation of marriage of convenience. They moved me quickly. But he came to me and he said, "Can you help me?" I says, "What kind of help?" He says, I have a person who has been with me now for 15 years. I want to retire, and I want him to take over my business for me. But all he has is $300,000 for property. And he says, I have been all over this country to see if I can get a decent apartment for him. And no apartment, even the budget homes now are $350,000. That were $125,000 before. So what did that do? That took the possibility of an average Caymanian, whether they're married or unmarried or whether they're couples, from owning a home. Because it's going to, if you are starting out in Cayman, in unemployment in Cayman, say you're 20 or 24, 25 years old and you're married, it's going to take you 10 years just to save the deposit in a bank, to be able to get the bank to finance a place for you for $500,000. And you can look at all the apartments and all the places for sale in all the real estate, media, and you will see $700,000. So who are getting those apartments? The people who come here to work, and their companies are lending them the money to be able for them to buy the apartment so they can qualify. And what that did, it put an apartment out of the range of the average Caymanian who can't afford to do that, especially those who are making $7 to $10 an hour.
Yep, the law of unintended consequences. Exactly. Folks, we have to take a commercial break. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Since March 2004, West Bay Pharmacy has kept their doors open to the local communities, even before, during, and after Hurricane Ivan. At West Bay Pharmacy, our staff provides so much more than pharmaceutical excellence. From the moment you walk through our doors to completing your cash out, our staff will have put your healthcare concerns at ease. We would like to take this moment to thank our loyal friends and customers. To us at West Bay Pharmacy, our patients are our primary concern. We provide thorough background checks and precise calculations to ensure your medical safety. Thank you for being a part of our family and for choosing West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
You know who this is? That same old girl that went to Hollywood and Panama? Well, guess what? The fun ain't done yet, because this year, I'm going to country concerts in Denver. I got kick up my heels in Times Square. I got keep living the dream with Cayman Airways. We so blessed to have them. I tell you what though, this old girl's feeling younger than ever.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering international non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, Kingston, Mobay, La Ceiba, and Havana. Enjoy free rum punch, free in-flight entertainment, free seat selection, and free meals on select flights. Call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
When it comes to weekly meal prep, I trust Kirk Market to provide the best value for quality proteins. The butchers at Kirk Market are super helpful. They always slice my steaks perfectly. Kirk Market has everything I need for healthy and flavorful protein-packed meals. From lean cuts of CAB choice beef, tender CAB prime beef, the juiciest pork, and all-natural hormone-free poultry, to their seafood section with everything from fresh local snapper to omega-3 rich salmon. I choose Kirk Market for the highest quality proteins to support my healthy lifestyle. Kirk Market. Eat well, live well, and discover a world of choice.
Tune in every Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. for Radio Cayman's Midday Newscast. Radio Cayman, the people's station, your trusted official source for the latest news. The 12 p.m. news is proudly brought to you by Health City Cayman Islands. World-class healthcare within your reach.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. We have callers on hold, Miss Susan. Two callers on hold. So we're getting short on time now. So we're going to ask every caller to please be brief, get to your point, and give someone else an opportunity as well. Let's go to the first caller. Good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning again, Osi.
Good morning again. Good morning.
Yeah. Well, what I'll do, I'll just instead of
no, go ahead.
I'll throw out some questions to Dr. McField. Doc, I know you was a part of the review team about immigration reforms. I can put question, then you can answer them afterward. Do you think that that motion for immigration reform will be coming to the sitting, or will it be coming anytime soon? And what is your take on removing the criteria and just for extending from grandfather to great grandfather, and by marriage with stipulations? And what about putting a moratorium on outsiders purchasing property here in Cayman at least for another 20 years, like how I think Canada, which is the biggest landmass in the Western Hemisphere, they have put that stipulation where outsiders can't buy property. So what do you think about that?
Okay. Okay, we'll keep that in mind. We're going to grab the other caller first and then respond to both. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Connor.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Mr. McField. And this morning here, good morning to the listening public. I want to speak about just what's obviously on most people's mind, at least most contrarian people's mind in this country, and that is what is being proposed. Unfortunately, this has now reached most people in the public through social media of some sort or word of mouth, and that's still alive and well, and in this case, thank God. And what I really want to say is first of all, what is seemingly being proposed is why we have is that Mile Beach now that is 4.5 miles instead of 7. Because before we had the National Conservation Council, individuals, prospective developers and the like who wanted to get their way simply went to the elected representatives who then directed planning to give them what they wanted. And as a result, a third asset my reach is on. Now we've got something that works. Maybe it needs to be tweaked. But what it doesn't need is political interference from people that we know well have no ability to make any qualified decision in regard to our environment in this country, simply because they fooled enough people in too many cases and got elected. That is the last thing we need. We need less praying, and that's P-R-E-Y-I-N-G, and more praying, P-R-A-Y-I-N-G. And we need leadership to try to stop now manipulating us to the point where they believe that we're just going to take what they say while this country continues to become harder for our people to live here, while the indigenous population feels the way they feel, sees that there's no opportunity. You've taken many calls this morning alone on these issues, and where these people are going to now want to be in a position where the people who want what they want but cannot get it through any organized association get it from the people who we elect. This is what is destroying this country, and this is what we have to fight against. And I want to say to the top leadership in this country, when we talk about fair and fear of God, the fair seems to be lost as to which word we're using. It is not F-A-I-R. It's good to fear God in the sense of looking at God fairly. But my pastor and my grandma told me it was F-E-A-R. And you should fear what God will do to you for your self-serving actions that put other people's lives at risk, put other people in the future and future generations in this country without the opportunities that they would have, because you won't sit and be in a position where those who can't get what they want now can come to you to achieve this. So where we have here, I got close with saying this, what we have here is seemingly now leadership there's two words. There's praying and there's prayer. And the difference between those two words and the meanings of those two words is E and A. And what they want to do is inject themselves in there and have it EIA. And that is one of the provisions now that they want to have the ability to waive or to get away from in relation to large developers and developments in this country. And that only can lead us to one thing, and that is corruption, absolute corruption. We know it. I've been paying attention for 24 years. I don't need a course on corruption. I don't need anybody to tell me who amongst us are willing to do it. And by the way, I must say this, our self-serving individuals now are not also those that we have elected, They are indigenous Caymanians, 4 and 5 generations now, who got what they got, in many cases through political favor, and are still trying to do their endeavor best to disenfranchise the average person in this country.
Okay, caller, I want to thank you. Thank you very much for that. We're going to grab one more caller before we go to our commercial break, our last commercial break. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. Connor. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm fine. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you for asking. I just wanted to reach out, if it's okay. I know that there was a gentleman from West Bay that called earlier in the week about a West Bay that had been formed. And I wanted to give a little bit of information, if that's okay, about an upcoming meeting that's happening this coming Monday.
Sure. Go right ahead.
Wonderful. So in the absence of what we would expect coming from our legislators, we would want our members of parliament, the elected leaders, to be holding more meetings than what is currently happening with Plan Cayman. One district meeting isn't really sufficient. And so what some of the people in West Bay have come up with is creating a committee where we invite both residents from West Bay and the wider community. It just so happens that the meeting is being hosted in West Bay at the Church of God Chapel in West Bay. And it's going to be this Monday. The meeting will start promptly at 7 p.m. It will end promptly at 9 p.m. And we will be going over the Plan Cayman planning statement. Each week, there will be a new section that we cover. So for this first meeting on Monday, it'll cover section 1. And then all the following meetings that we hope to have, which will not include the public holiday Monday, but all the other following Mondays will cover relevant sections so that the community can get a more in-depth look at what the Plan Cayman planning statement indicates, so that we can help facilitate collecting feedback. The government is asking the public to submit feedback on a few questions on an online form. We recognize that not everyone has access to the internet. Not everyone feels comfortable going online. So we will be taking the same questions that they have electronically, and we will be facilitating collection of that feedback in a more manual, more grassroots process so that everyone in the community can be included. We really do believe that this Plan Cayman document requires attention. We are asking the public to read the planning statement before they come, but if they don't have the capacity to do that, we will be going section by section. So those are the highlights of it. And if anyone has any questions, we do have an email address, which would be caymanfeedback@gmail.com.
Can you repeat that one more time for people who may want to write it down?
Absolutely. It's caymanfeedback@gmail.com. So caymanfeedback@gmail.com. And with your permission, I know that the show will be wrapping up soon. I will be sending some additional details if you wouldn't mind reading them out before the close of the show. I just wanted to reach you quickly before we went to commercial break.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, caller, for that. And that commercial break that she spoke about, we're going to take that right now. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Did you know that you can send money transfers to financial institutions anywhere in Jamaica with JN Money?
You mean I can send money straight to my account and cut out the middleman?
Yes, that's exactly what I mean. You send your own money to your own account, giving you peace of mind that the money is in your account.
JN Money Transfers to Financial Institution is another convenient service offered by JN Money. You can have this done from any JN Money location. Deposit your money straight to your account without the hassle of asking someone to do it for you. JN Money Transfers to Financial Institutions, making life easier.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Speed into Dream Carnival with Digicel, Cayman's #1 5G network. Win day-wear packages and aftermath tickets by activating a 10-day Prime Pro bundle or paying your bill on time. Don't miss out on these epic events. Go to your nearest Digicel store today or activate a plan in the My Digicel app for your chance to start fetting today. Digicel, better connected.
The mission of the National Conservation Council and the Department of Environment is to ensure our islands consider responsible use of our natural resources while preserving our native species and habitats for future generations. Learn more at conservation.ky.
Start your day in the know. Don't miss a beat. Radio Cayman's 7 a.m. news keeps you informed every Monday through Saturday at 7 a.m. Brought to you by Cayman National, proudly serving the Cayman Islands since 1974.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. Dr. McField has stepped briefly out of the studio. He'll be back in a few minutes. Any callers on hold, Miss Susan? One caller on WhatsApp. And then I want to give Dr. McField an opportunity, for some wrap-up comments as well. So once we finish with this caller, we have two callers, one on the WhatsApp, one on the regular, and then we're going to close the phone lines off. Again, reminder to persons, please be brief because we have a limited amount of time. Caller, what's up, caller? Good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Good morning, caller. Welcome to For the Record. I'm not hearing anyone, Ms. Susan. Let's go to the landline. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm fine. How's Doc doing? Is he back yet in the studio?
Yes.
All right. Doctor's got a lot of things on the agenda.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We need to get things sorted out now. We need to take these people to task. It's no time to mess around and egg around with what's going on here. So, quickly, I want to say that today is a kind of rainy day. Are you in the office today?
Yes, Mr. Morgan. I'm there all day.
Okay. I'm sorry, kind of embarrassed, but I forgot the location again.
Elizabethan Square, second floor.
Oh, great. All right. Yeah. I need to make a special effort to come in and see you because a lot of stuff is brewing right now. So
yes.
Yeah. So before too late, I'll step into the office. All right.
Okay. All right.
Thank you so much. Thank you too. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. That WhatsApp caller is that caller back? Okay. So we're going to close the lines off now. Doc, we want to give you an opportunity for some closing comments. And of course, we had one of the callers that asked the questions and your position in relation to permanent residency and status, whether or not it should be limited to a restricted, group, and also talking about property ownership as well.
Well, I personally, I'm not talking professional because I'm still involved, and you have to be so careful.
Sure.
So careful what you involve in. Personally, I believe that we should go back to the quota system.
Okay.
And we should only allow so many people to have the status and the permanent residency per year. I think that we should go back to the quota system because that's the only how we are going to control the system and be fair to everybody. But if we go back to the quota system, that's how it was some time ago under the Cayman Protection Law.
Mm-hmm.
And
what about the whole idea of a person's ability to work in the Cayman Islands for a given period of time? Do we need to shorten that period of time so that again, that people don't have the expectation, because we laid out on a platter to them. Now we say, well, if you're able to get beyond the 8-year period, here's what you're likely to achieve.
There shouldn't be
we incentivize it.
There shouldn't be anything in the system that we're obliged to grant permanent residency once certain things are happening.
Mm-hmm.
What we need to do is to go to a system where we have a work visa, permission to work for a certain time, and that permission does not have at the end of that time your ability to then apply for permanent residence. That should be the prerogative of the government. And that should be a quota system also, where so many people are going to be allowed to apply for permanent residence, which would be in conjunction with how many people we're going to give status to per year, so that the numbers are not conflicting with each other.
Now, what about restricting it to persons who have reached retirement age, and if they then have the ability to financially
that's a different category
support, but maybe we should remove all of the other categories and put it to that. We all talk about data and stuff like that. The data shows that if we continue along the track that we are going, we see the number of Caymanians, indigenous Caymanians, getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And like I said, if we were to invite the UN Fund for Population Activities, their experts here in the Cayman Islands, they will be able to tell us, to project how much longer we go before we will see Caymanians disappear altogether.
Yes.
They may appear on paper in terms of being a Caymanian, but otherwise it'll disappear. So,
but all of that should be in conjunction with a population number, the population growth. We need to have that data.
Yes.
On the limit that we are going to allow in the country. You cannot have it continuing forever and ever and ever and ever. So that if you are a retired person, there would be a retirement category for you, but you're not able to run for election, you're not able to vote, and you're not able to do all those things. You're only here on a retirement plan. And then you have a quota. You remember the quota sometimes was 15 a year. It was 3.
And we had a bold government that suspended it altogether for something like 10 or 12 years.
12 years, yes.
Didn't grant any
yes,
status.
Exactly. As far as being the law retroactive, there's a principle of law that says you cannot take a right away from a person who has earned that right, that right has been vested in that person. So you would not be able to get away with retroactive legislation. That would be very unconstitutional and ultra vires. So that you'll have to make some sort of accommodation for those people who already acquired a right, in which they call grandfathers.
Yeah,
grandfathers clauses, and then move on from there. So that's what we need. We need politicians who are bold enough to do that, and to say this nonsense about coming here 8 years, and then you have a right to apply for a permanent residence after 9 years, and then if you have certain things that you automatically, we are automatically required to give it to you. That should go completely from the law, and you should get a work visa, permission to work for so many years, and then you go.
Yeah. Now I'm going to use a crude analogy. When we saw our marine life being threatened,
yes,
we enacted marine conservation
That's
laws.
right.
And why we did that? Because the poor conchs, the poor lobsters couldn't defend themselves. They can only do so much. We hear about conchs burying themselves a certain time of the year because we know that sharks and turtles will eat the conchs. We know what the lobsters do.
Yes.
We protect or a certain species of our iguanas, as well. But we have the ability, and we can use the argument that we are in danger of losing our heritage, losing our identity. There's no stronger argument that we can make legally or morally than that for us to justify some, of these, what some people may consider radical changes. But if you have radical consequences, then you can only fight those radical consequences with radical changes.
But that would then mean the Constitution is radical. Because the Constitution gives us the right to do exactly what you're saying.
And we're failing to do so. We're not doing it.
We're not doing it. The Constitution gives us the right to say, if you are working in government or in government companies or in government organizations like customs, immigration, police, prison, whatever, the Constitution says that you have the right to say that only Caymanians can hold those jobs. You don't have to go to PASA. You don't have to go to fight about jobs for Caymanians only. It's already there in the Constitution. All we have to do is to enforce it.
Yep.
So that's a frustration I have all through my life now, is that we have all of these laws to protect ourselves, to protect ourselves as a culture, and we completely ignore it. And we ignore the laws that gives us the right to protect ourselves.
Yeah, very quickly. We only have about less than 3 minutes left, but we want to go back to what we started talking about in relation to the whole issue of collective responsibility.
Yes.
So any minister who has a particular subject of responsibility that has been assigned to them, and they are reluctant or hesitant or adamantly refuse that they're not going to bring legislation to our legislative assembly. The first option lies in cabinet.
Yes.
You either you say, or the person who has chosen you says to you, well, you can no longer be in cabinet.
Yes.
Because one of the scenarios would be if we took that responsibility and assigned it to someone else and you remained in cabinet, you still have are bound by collective responsibility in a cabinet. And when you go to the Legislative Assembly, unless you ask to be able to vote your own conscience
yes.
There, as well. Very quickly, can you talk a little bit about that, Doug?
Yes, because you cannot have in the British parliamentary system of cabinet government, you cannot have your own opinion on anything once cabinet has made a decision. That is what they call the collective. You have to be collective responsible in cabinet.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Now you can argue in cabinet your point of view until cabinet takes a position, and the position is against your point of view. Then you have to what they call stand in line. You have to go and stand in line with the rest of the cabinet
Mm-hmm,
members, or you have to resign.
And if you feel strongly,
yes.
if you feel strongly about it, and you feel that your constituents
yes.
are supportive of you in the position that you're
taking,
then you make that decision.
You make that decision.
And
or you walk the floor.
Yeah, and where we're at now in terms of being less than 12 months away from an election, I would imagine that it is important at this point in time for any member of cabinet or any member of government to stake their position out in terms of what.
That's right, and let the people know what their position is.
Yeah.
And in fact, it's about 9 months away now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because I think Parliament will be prorogued around March.
Around about there. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it may be hard decisions to make, but then again, it may not be that difficult, when you consider where we are in the election cycle.
And the whole principle on which we adopted in our parliamentary system, it's not based on whether you're going to lose money by not being in the position or not. It's based on principle that you have to support the government in the cabinet once the decision is made, and outside the cabinet in Parliament.
Yeah.
Those are the principles, and that's what our skin mate says.
And it's highly unusual. We see in the United States system where you have members who support certain pieces of legislation, bipartisan legislation,
but that's a
and then they go and then they vote against it at the end of the day.
Yes.
You can't do that in our type of parliamentary system unless you have been given permission to vote your conscience.
Yes.
And it would be contradictory for you as the person with responsibility for a particular subject to vote against a decision that has been made collectively to vote against it. It would be contradictory.
And another thing that we brought up this morning that we need to talk about sometimes if you invite me back.
Oh, what do you mean if I invite you back? You will be back.
It's the system of... It's a system which we have adopted, which we have not adopted in Cayman, but which is the fundamental basis on which the British parliamentary system works. It is a party system.
Yeah.
And it's usually between two major parties and more minor parties, but it's a party system.
Yeah. And that's why I keep saying I criticize this whole thing about independence.
Yes.
Because, it's... I forget the word that you use, malapropism or something like that. Now, it's a contradiction.
It's a contradiction.
To say, we're a cabinet, but we're independent.
Independent. You cannot have it
an independent have it both
mind.
ways.
You can't have it both ways. And so that's the problem that we have. And because the party has a constitution too that you have to abide by in able to get to be elected and to get a minister's position. within the government, within the country.
Now, very quickly, we're way over time, but we've got to get as much in as possible. What are your views in terms of those people who are sitting in the background? Seemingly, are we hearing that they're forming this and forming that? They can't come out at the 11th hour and tell people, oh, this is what the group that we've gotten together, and we want you to trust us. If you can't put your face and yourselves forward from now, what kind of trust are you looking for later on? How can people trust you?
And say this is our organization and these are the policies that we stand for. Here is our manifesto. We're all bound by this. Then Caymanian people who vote for them I would say, would not be very sensible people.
Okay, so very quickly, the meeting will be on Mondays, June 24th, July 8th, July 15th, and July 22nd at the Church of God Chapel in West Bay, 7 to 9 p.m. That's to discuss and to study the Plan Cayman document that is out there as well. Folks, I want to thank all of you. I want to thank Dr. Steve McField for being here. I want to encourage you to continue to support Radio Cayman. Join Sterling Dwayne Banks at 12:15 for Talk Today. And as usual, we ask the good Lord to bless these three beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands. Be careful out there on our roads as well, and have a great weekend.
For the Record, proudly brought to you by
Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury, and JN Money.
From abroad to yard.
Fast, affordable, convenient. Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066. And Cayman Airways, call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And Digicel, Cayman's bigger, better network. And Kirk Market. Experience a world of choice.